Kunal, it just struck me. Which was the first lineup in Formula 1 which was ready even before the season started. The first confirmed lineup of F1.
I would not know what you're talking of, Rishi.
That was you and me. We were destined to talk about Formula 1 and this team is going to stay put just as it is for many seasons to come. I'm hoping Formula 1 stays the same. That is the warmest welcome I could have given Kunal Shah and myself and you guys here on the Inside Line F1 podcast. Kunal, how's the week been?
Week's been very interesting, Rishi. It's been another week of off-season. Finally, some jigsaw puzzles falling in place.
You know what, I was thinking the other day that in about 4 weeks, cars will start introducing themselves. We start seeing stuff and cars will have to launch in about a month's time so they can start testing by the end of Jan. So it's not been that bad.
Given all the CAD designs that have done the rounds of social media, I don't think we're going to have extremely interesting cars to look and stare at.
I know. Very, very ugly looking cars being expected. Some not so great looking drivers. Some very good looking drivers. Massa's signing with Williams has come up with a brilliant analogy and I'm so glad Kunal pointed it out and it's a very interesting fact. Kunal, please tell me.
See, Williams have been struggling for pace all these years.
Yes.
Okay, and when they've got the pace, they've got a Cristiano Ronaldo crashing the car all around. Okay. So they've done something very simple. They've gone and hired the lightest driver on the grid.
Is Massa the lightest guy?
He apparently weighs 59 kilograms.
What are you saying?
Yes.
That's because of the hair loss.
But it just shows that Williams are trying everything they possibly can to go quicker and hence the Massa signing, Rishi.
Yes, they have hired other people from the aero departments and tried to strengthen their own. Now that Maldonado's gone, they need to strengthen a bit. Well, tell me something. First time in his career, he'll be driving a car which is not Ferrari powered because even back in Sauber, he had a Ferrari engine, then the actual Ferrari custom engine, and now first time, I guess, Mercedes engine?
I guess so, yeah. And, it's going to be interesting for him as well to have on his CV. But, on that note, given that he's a Ferrari discard, and a lot of people have been talking about it, asking if that's actually a good sign by Williams. In my view, it's a very good sign because we all know he's a good driver. You and I really love him after we love Michael Schumacher.
Yay.
Okay. And he will come with a wealth of technical knowledge which will come handy in 2014.
And let's not forget he was champion for exactly 22.3 seconds. Talking about great signings, Hülkenberg confirmed with Sahara Force India F1, another interesting signing. I just wish that he finds feet with a top line team, but hey, he's proven himself with all different kinds of cars he's done.
Yes, it's reuniting of the exes like we spoke about.
Yeah.
So there was Raikkonen who first chose to go back to Ferrari. Now we have Nico Hülkenberg going back to Sahara Force India. And he is one of the most interesting prospects on the grid right now.
It's going to be a really interesting one to see who's in the other car, whether it's going to be Adrian Sutil and the experience, whether it's going to be Paul Di Resta and the whole battle they had in previous years together, or it's going to be Sergio Perez in a fresh challenge. So let's see how it goes. But talking about exes, which are the exes we would like to see back in the seats?
I go first, Rishi. I call dibs on that.
Oh, I know where this is going. Just spit it out.
So I'd love to see a Rosberg in a Ferrari being driven by a Michael Schumacher. And somewhere Jean Todt will always be biased towards a Ferrari. So, I'd love to see the trio back.
Yes, Jean Todt has been re-elected for another tenure as the head of FIA. And I think it just falls in position. Sometimes I just get a feeling it's going to happen. But yes, Michael will not come back. We know it.
Yes, we know it. And, this goes back to one of the questions that we got asked over the weekend by one of our listeners, Ravi Aswani. I also answered it on our Facebook
What is up,
page.
Ravi?
So with all that excitement, Ravi, of course, was asking if Rosberg could indeed go back to Ferrari, take them to those dizzy heights that we saw in the early 2000s. And, I believe you and I both responded saying, yes, he very much can. But today, Ferrari needs more of his brains than his bronze.
That is a smart one my friend came up with. 3 things I want to actually see back in Formula 1 as exes. First is, I want to see a Mika Häkkinen in silver. And I want to see a typical Michael versus Mika battle because those were the most interesting ones according to me.
Yes, you know what I'm going to add to that? I'm going to add a Jacques Villeneuve. In a Williams.
Nice.
With a Mika and a McLaren and a Schumacher and a Ferrari.
That is a good sound.
And wait a minute. And a Sebastian Vettel in a Red Bull. Come on, let's give the quadruple champion some credit as well.
That's going to be a great bouquet of some talent. But 2 more things that I absolutely believe you will second me on this one is, first I want refueling to make a comeback.
Absolutely, yes.
And the second one is V8 or V10s.
We tends any point of time, Rishi.
Yeah, we tends to choose that.
Yeah. So while we fix those engines, I'd love to see a Takuma Sato or even a Robert Kubica or a Timo Glock back for that matter.
Yes, quite a lot of talent that we missed over the years. Something we will miss is a few Grand Prix on the calendar. I always love to see Magny-Cours back on the calendar. But Korea, not a lot of people are going to miss that and is not going to be seen on the calendar next year along with our own Grand Prix.
Yes, so there's, instead of tumbling down the rabbit hole in terms of watching Formula 1 every weekend or every fortnight, we're going to actually have again 19 races. The FIA has just confirmed it. I believe Korea and New Jersey and Mexico have been dropped or something like that. Formula 1 and NASCAR actually go head-to-head next season.
This is the biggest news of the week, where there's actually a fight and there's words exchanged between the head of NASCAR and the guy who manages Formula 1 in America. And this way, no, I'm not going to back out for dates. No, I'm not going to back out for dates. And they're both actually intersecting with each other.
It's going to be lovely to see how it all pans out, because we've always wanted to know which is a better sport, faster car, which drivers are better, fitter, etc., etc. And somehow, American racing hasn't really gone international, and so is Formula 1 not really set its foot yet in America. And next year's United States Grand Prix is actually going to have a clash with the NASCAR Sprint Cup as well. So it'll be lovely to see what the American fans actually choose. And, I don't know if Bernie Ecclestone has a hand in this. He usually does. But hats off to him for taking the sport head on in the third year itself.
Well, I like that. I like a competition. That's what they say. Just like Inside Line F1 went head on against the back end of the grid, and we actually beat Marussia and Caterham both. And Kunal, see, we've shown them the door. We've actually got a better positioning than they did in this year, because we've got our first sponsor, if I may call them.
Yeah, so you mean that it's akin to winning a championship point, is it?
Absolutely, a lot more than that. Look at me, I'm so happy.
Yes, so let's move on from that positivity, Rishi. Come on.
Yes, we did have a little prize to give away, and lots of these in the pipeline, lots more to happen. But first time, I'm very happy to announce that Motorsport will actually be praising and hooting for the owner of a Formula Motorsport car rather than the drivers a little more, because breaking news as I speak to you, Leonardo DiCaprio has in fact invested 50% stakes in actually a Formula E team.
Yes, news has just come in that he has partnered with a company called Venturi. So they will own the franchise of the 10th and the last team on the Formula E grid. So they're going to be going head on with Mahindra Racing, as we kept talking about. Virgin Racing got announced last week as well.
Yes. Yeah, so it's quite a colourful looking grid out there. The only thing that's not fixed about that formula is they've not fixed the commentators, and I have two names. What's the name?
One name is Rishi Kapoor.
The other guy, Kunal Shah. Brilliant fellas should be hired. That's how you promote yourself. The other way of promoting yourself is actually going on Facebook and making a page, and we've finally done it in 3 years. It took us, and a great enthusiast of Formula 1 called Mithila Mehta. Mithila, brilliant job with whatever you've done. She's our creative consultant.
Thank you for adding the curse boost.
Yay. Facebook.com/InsideLineF1 podcast is the page you need to go and like, increase the likes, and when you like us, we like you back. We love Formula 1, not only like it, but that's how it's done here on the Inside Line F1.
Yes, but when you like us, we love you back, Rishi, because now given the kind of advertising interest we've got, there's going to be much more merchandise and contest coming on the way of our fans.
Yes, very excited to tell you about something in the pipeline. Kunal is not allowing me. Look at him raising a finger. Name's Rishi Kapoor. Kunal Shah is still
Adios.
Still raising the finger. You should be in battle.